Welcome back to the program.
It's
Thank you so
great
very
to be
much for
back.
being here. Here's what I know about this book. One, in the book, you talk about using crystal meth. And that's true, right?
Well, that was actually a typo in the book. No, I said I did math in 1997.
Oh, it is, I see. It came out crystal meth.
But it's just as well because nobody who knew me then would believe I did math.
But I mean, of all the things a person might want to do, drinking other kinds of drugs, why in the world would crystal meth be your first choice? This stuff is a known killer, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Well, I don't think anybody really is aware of what a killer or anything is when they make that choice. But, you know, I was at a time in my life where I was in a life I didn't want, a life I didn't choose, a marriage I didn't want to be in, and I was pretty much depressed, to be quite honest. Somebody comes along and offers me an escape, and I took it. And like most people, a mistake usually leads to more mistakes.
Right. But for my naivete regarding this, it's hard to stop. Was it hard for you to stop taking this?
You know, I got to say, I don't know if it speaks to my capacity for pain or if it, you know, kind of shines a light on how it hadn't quite got its hooks in me. But when I decided to sort of move on, and I felt like I was walking towards a life as opposed to away from that. So the answer is no. I did stop straight away, and I went on with my life.
And what caused you to stop? Now, I know you called the ATP, or you failed a drug test, and they said, what's going on? And you said, well, I picked up somebody else's drink, and they said, okay, fine. But there must have been some other turning point there.
There was a few turning points in my life. In that particular time, I was in Stuttgart. I took a wild card. I was 141 in the world playing an indoor tournament that they needed to invite me to play because I wasn't ranked high enough to get in. Mm-hmm. I got embarrassed out there on the court, and my coach basically said to me, you know, we got to quit or start over again. Right. And I remember realizing that moment, you know, I've hated tennis since I was a boy because it was never my choice to play it, and it was never mine. And I looked out the window, I saw a lot of traffic at the nighttime at Stuttgart, and realized that all these people are probably going to lives that they didn't choose, lives they don't want, but they find reason and meaning in what is they're doing and why it is they're doing it. And I said that day, I can walk away from the game right now, but I'm going to actually choose it.
Yeah. Wow. That's very profound, that experience there that you described, for God's sake. And of course, everybody's talking about that, as you mentioned, you hated the game of tennis because you didn't choose it. Your father, I guess, chose it for you. If you were going to choose a game, what game would you have chosen?
You know, I would have been much better off in a team sport, just something where I'm kind of playing for something connected to me, but still larger than me. I was my own kind of worst enemy. I was the toughest opponent I ever had on a tennis court. But I don't know if I would have chosen sports, period. I mean, I think education would have been given me options.
You left school quite early, didn't you?
I did. I felt like leaving school was loyalty to Pops when I was young and not sort of caring about it, and it limited my options in life.
Are there? My impression is that your father pushed you into tennis, saw some results, and kept pushing and pushing and pushing. Is that inaccurate?
It's very accurate.
Yeah.
He's old
Well, what is
school.
your relationship with him now?
It's reconciled in the book. You know, some of my moments in the book with my father have been sensationalized as well. But, you know, my dad, he wears this book like a badge of honor. I talked to him the other day, and I said, Dad, what do you think? Are you doing all right? He goes, I don't care what people say about me. He goes, let me tell you something. If I could do this all over again, he goes, I would do the same thing, except I wouldn't let you play tennis. And I said, well, what would you do? He goes, baseball or golf. Mm-hmm. You can play those longer and you can make more money.
Wow. Here you are as a kid. Look at that. How old are you there? Like 8, 9 years old?
About 7 years old there.
Shortly thereafter, your dad put you in a balloon. Right after that photo was taken. Now, are those guys still around, parents like that? Are they still in tennis?
Well, I think you see them really everywhere in life, a lot of them. I mean, the truth is, if you're going to be the best in the world in a sport, you have to do it young, especially an individual sport. Mm-hmm. You have to do it young. You have to do it intensely. And, you know, it's nature, nurture. You got to be born with a gift, but if you're not out there pumping away.
But does it have to be adversarial? Now, I don't know what kind of relationship Tiger Woods had with his dad, but it was a similar deal where his dad, at 3 years old, put a club in his hand, and they played and played and played, and finally one day when Tiger was 13 or 14, he beat his dad, and he said, there, I beat you, and his dad never beat him again. And you wonder, does it have to be that kind of unpleasant between a father and dad to get the motivation.
Well, you would hope not. You would hope not. You see a lot of cases like that. You know, I look around. I don't identify with many athletes I've seen. Tiger Woods would be a good example, and he's great of an athlete and accomplishments that he's had. This is a guy who claims that he's in his element when he's out there in the heat of competition. It scared the living daylights out of me. I mean, it really, you saw the worst of me in a lot of those situations.
Is that right?
So I've always wondered, are these athletes, are they just lying, or are they actually, is this actually, am I that alien to it? So it's
No,
hard for me to
would you
say.
talk to other competitors and say, do you feel this way? Do we have that in common, or am I alone in this?
Well, I would tell a lot of people outside my sport, and I've never felt like I identify with them. Inside the sport, you can't quite do it. You can't quite expose your psyche, you know? I mean, in tennis, you don't have to be good. You just have to be better than one person. So if I know a weakness of yours, it's like a staring contest. If I know where you're weak, I can somehow tough you out. So you never really confided those sorts of things with each other.
Yeah. The other thing that we know from reading the book is that this little number right here, and to me this is more stunning than the drug revelation, honestly. This. What are we looking at here, Andre?
We're looking at a lot of pain. That is not my hair.
Yeah. The whole thing is a wig. It's not a wig. It's a system. Is that what is that what we have going on there?
It's a weave system. And the night before the French Open final, I used the wrong conditioner and it started to come off.
Oh my God. So now you got to play on clay. French Open is clay. Yeah. And you're worried you're going to lose your hair.
Big time. I mean, I've never prayed for a result in my life, but I prayed that day for that wig to stay on. I mean, I had about 50 bobby pins holding it down, and I said to my brother, is this going to stay? You know, I mean, it's my first Grand Slam finals. And he says, I think it will, just don't move around so much.
That's right. It's tennis. Try not to move around. See if they'll just hit it right to you. Well, that must have been just crushingly humiliating, just the anticipation and fear of that coming off, for God's sakes.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, I had a vision of it. Every point I was living with a vision of, you know, my hair.
But why that number there? What was...
Well, you know, it's a good question. You know, I was at a time in my life, too, where I was kind of in a bit hiding myself. You know, I think any form of rebellion is really somebody trying to, you know, hide who they really are, their inner self. And I think what better way to hide yourself than to wear a mullet?
I think we have it here. Bring it in, boys. Here it is. Let's see where. That's beautiful. Eddie, take this to the birthday girl.
Oh, I just want to,
Say goodbye to her. Thank you very much. We'll be right back with Andre Agassi, everybody. Now, the other thing that I know, I mean, you're married to Steffi Graf, who was a tremendous champion as well. And I years ago, she was on the show. She had won something. I don't know what.
Really? That's surprising.
Yeah, it is surprising. It finally squeaked out a win. But she was out there, and we were hitting tennis balls or something, and I was standing very close to her, and I was taken.
Watch yourself.
Yeah. The aura of this woman, she is so perfectly constructed as an athlete.
Okay, you're getting really close.
No. And I thought to myself, I've never seen a woman like this before in my life. It was incredible to see her that close up, you know, doing what she does so well. And I just thought, my God, that was a wonderful experience for me. I mean this with all the right intentions. And you have two kids now?
We do, 8 and 6. They turned 8 and 6 last month.
Mm-hmm. And a boy and a girl, two boys?
A boy and a girl, Jada and Jazz. And Jada made me my Daddy Rocks necklace 4 years ago, and I haven't taken it off.
Good for you. That's very sweet. What about... I read that your dad had monkeyed with an automatic ball machine, and he had the thing going 100 miles an hour when you were like 6. And so you're dodging balls, you know, that's not right. Do Do your kids show inclination to be great tennis players, athletes, anything?
Well, you know, I get asked that a lot about like our kids, like if they come from such a good genes,
Yeah.
are they going to be athletes? And I always say, you know, it's a huge gene pool, and my God, you haven't met the rest of my family. I mean, you kind of wait to see how it all plays out. But my son's way into baseball, which is really cool because I love baseball, and my daughter plays 3 days a week tennis, so I kind of hold my breath that that doesn't continue too much more. But you know, I think as a father, and you well know this, the first thing you do is define success for your kid. What does it really look like? And if my children can pour themselves into something in order to discover themselves, and as a result learn some empathy in their life, I'd be pretty darn happy.
Absolutely. What is their relationship like with your father, with Grandpa?
It's an interesting relationship. You know, I've somehow broken the cycle because my kids don't quite, you know, worry when my dad raises his voice. Or it's kind of fun to see him. But we go over there every weekend, and my dad has taken this ball machine, the souped-up ball machine I talk about, as so formative in my life, and he's turned it into a pitching machine now. So now my son has to hit the
hit the 100 mile an hour.
100 mile an hour.
Hey, Dad, slow it down. Let's talk about the school that you have created. Is it in Nevada? Is that where?
It's in the poorest neighborhood of Las Vegas, and my idea was to provide resources to the kids that society has written off the most, and have accountability with those resources, and use it as a laboratory. What would happen in a state where we graduate the least amount of kids in our country? We're 50th in our school last summer.
Is that right, in Nevada?
Nevada's 50th in the United States. The kids that we put into college. We're 48th per pupil allocation, what we give each child for their yearly education. And last summer we had our graduating class, our first senior class, and every senior graduated and got accepted to college. So
well, that's great, because that's as we know, there are many steps and occurrences and situations along the way where somebody can step in and save a life. So good for you. That's just tremendous that you're doing that. The book is called Open. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, Andre Agassi.
thank you.